Nkumo Fong.
That's up, man.
Hey, listen. CERES Labs. Oh, the innovation. What made you come up with this, Nkumo? I'm curious.
So, I mean, the thought process came to me many years ago, like over 20 odd years ago. When I was in high school, we had a conversation in class with our teacher. I think he was teaching biology at the time. So there was a conversation around global warming. It wasn't climate change at the time. Global warming was the catchphrase. So we had a conversation about global warming, and he said to us, what can we do to reduce the emissions? And I held up my little hand at the time and I asked, so why don't we just capture all of the emissions directly from the source? So all of the factories capture all of the emissions from the emissions coming out of the stacks, and from the vehicles, catch it from the tailpipe. And my teacher said, well, those technologies don't really exist. So there's no real way to capture these emissions. And that question actually stuck on me for many years. And it's actually one of the reasons why I became a chemist back in 2010. So I started to work on a method as to how to reduce emissions from as far back as 2010, when I had access to a laboratory for the first time. And I started to do my own independent research on the matter. And by the time I finished my degree in 2013, I now had a full-blown laboratory at that time. And I started to tinker with certain ideas that I had. And I went round in full circle just to come to realize that the chemistry and the science is already known. We actually know exactly how to reduce emission from a chemistry point of view. But it wouldn't be many years after that where I started to play around with various prototypes, trying to figure out how to make the chemistry and the engineering work. And it wasn't until 2019, there's so much year passed between 2010 and 2019. That's 9 years before it finally dawned on me that the technology needs to be simple. It needs to be easily maintained. The customer must be able to install it with not much problems, and it must have some biodegradable component to it, or the byproducts must be simple. So that dawn on me came in 2019, but it wasn't until COVID came in 2020, which was all coincidence, when I know was in my house. I still had access to a laboratory, but I started to tinker with the idea again, and I started to really build prototypes for the thing now. And by 2021, I had a epiphany as to how the product needs to look, because I started to play with different prototypes, and it just dawned on me that, look, the product can just be as simple as what you're seeing here. A tube, a cylindrical tube that allows the exhaust to flow in one direction. So it comes in at one end and it flows out the other. But within that tightly packed tube, you need to have filters, you need to have a means of absorption, and you need to have a means of exit. So I created this concept for the product many years ago. When you came on board in 2021, we started to play around with, okay, if we're going to make this product a reality, what exactly we need to do in order to get this product out there into the world. And we started to play around with different versions of the product. As you can see, many prototypes now exist for the device. And, 8 years worth of research went into this thing to get it to where it is. And we're now confident in what we have. We're now able to commercialize a fully patented product after many years, and we're feeling very proud of it.
And you should be. One thing that was value added is that these devices capture and record the emissions.
Right.
How much emissions going in and how much emissions coming out, and how much is captured.
Because it's always known.
Yes, exactly. And that's the beauty about it, that it's scalable. Now, when you can have a device that is scalable, that can be deployed on a car, a truck, a bus, a boat, a ship,
right.
a generator, a forklift.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Anything that has a exhaust combustion
exactly.
engine. Right.
And the good thing about it that we evolved, that when going to SIF and TBR and all these other
these
meetings,
conferences,
when
right.
when we
And
met,
talk to customers.
I remember when we talked with Google, a lady from Google, and she said, "Can your device capture any other thing?" And we go, so and then we
It's a
brought
good question.
yes, and then and we said, why not just change
The
the
solution.
solution inside of it? No, we have it's a VECTOR-1 2.0.
Well, yeah,
You know,
but version of it that can
yeah,
pretty much scrub any ear.
yeah, working factories, underground car parks, any place that has a large volume.
Yeah, that's going out. These are going out to customers who will be testing the product. Thank you, Floyd, for sourcing these customers. They are very excited about testing the units. This one, as you can see, it's JUTC bus colored. Whatever that color is, that's what this is, you know. So we're very excited about the units, and the customers are excited, and we're just in a really good position to release a thoroughly validated product at this point.
Yeah, because here what? 30% of carbon emissions.
Yeah, that's
30% of carbon emissions.
All global emissions.
Exactly. Now, our little island Jamaica, where you point out that within 2030, if we don't change, we're going to have a sea rise of 2 meters. Now, I am about 2 meters. You can imagine water.
Potential 2 meter rise. I think by 2100, if you will have as much as 2 meter rise going inland towards Jamaica, that's a significant aspect of Jamaica.
Lose the
the
beach.
entire coastline.
Downtown gone.
Yeah.
They talk about Port Royal.
Yeah.
They talk about downtown as
all
next.
of our public beaches will probably disappear.
Exactly.
So the waters are getting warmer. And a lot of people don't realize that warm waters is not good for small island developing states. So warm waters mean the glaciers are melting faster, and that sea level rise is slowly engulfing small islands.
And not only that, in Kumo, you're talking about bleaching of the
Corals,
reef.
right.
That means that protection that we have, the fish, gone.
Our mangroves.
Exactly. So
they're all potentially at stake for destruction.
And you talk about global and not only Jamaica. You're talking about air quality.
Yeah.
Heat rise. You're going to have crops.
Yeah, we may have it good here because of we have a natural airflow going through the Caribbean because of North America and then the seaworld island breezes and so on. So we in Jamaica have it good here in terms of a natural airflow, but in countries where the airflow isn't as good, like in India or certain parts of Bangladesh and so on, where the air is pretty much stagnant, these are highly volatile conditions for breathing.
Yeah, and that's
these devices pretty much solve that problem because
it
captures all of the emissions coming out from the motor vehicle directly from the source.
Matter of fact, you're talking about motor vehicle, you're talking about people, you're talking about buildings, you're talking about children.
Yeah.
Just drop a massive VECTOR-1 in the space. I'm gonna say it's scalable, you know.
Yeah.
You know, how does filter there? Drop to China, Europe.
I mean, the technology is certainly applicable to a variety of scenarios. And what we want to do as a company is to build out various versions of the technology where it can be scalable to pretty much any application where the concentration of carbon dioxide is more than 5,000 parts per million. I mean, in regular air, it's about 400 parts per million, but it's certainly in enclosed spaces, that's not the case.
I can break it down simple. 94 million cars are made average every year.
Every year, yeah.
1 billion cars are in circulation. Now, that 30%, if we can start off even getting
half of that.
Even 10%.
Yeah, even 10%.
1%.
That's a significant reduction.
Exactly.
What does that really means is that the Earth itself has a chance to slowly recover at a faster rate than it is now. Because the more emissions we humans put out there, the more the ocean heats up, the more melting happens, the more air pollutions and so on. So we really need to slow down what's happening, as in slow it down even further than what's happening now.
The good thing about all about this VECTOR-1, talk about sustainability, talking about improvement in health. We have children, we want them to grow up and see nice beaches.
Yeah.
What we're going to do? Listen, people, it's simple. CERES Labs have created a phenomenal product. Listen, this blew my mind. This blew my mind when I saw it. It blew my mind when Nkrumah came to me how much years ago and said, Floyd, this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna say, well, run with it, because he pointed out to me, what was that person you said to me, United Nations?
Greta Thunberg. She in some kind of climate conference. I heard it randomly online, but there was this climate conference being held, and she went there amongst all these high society people, and she made a declaration. She said, "If we don't act as if the world is burning now, we won't save the world." Something to that extent, and that dawned on me, Floyd. And this was many, many years ago. So when I was creating what CERES Labs needs to be, the motto that really jumped out at me, that we really need to innovate as if there's no tomorrow. We really need to create technologies as if the world is currently on fire. So we need to innovate like there's no tomorrow, and that's our motto for the company.
Yeah, the good thing, in closing, my 2 cents is that in the next few months, these be on the market. They'll be on the market for companies, people who are concerned about how they can impact positive change when it comes on to the environment. If you want to get green bucks, you're talking carbon credits.
I mean, we'll need to figure out how the carbon credit work, but
yes, definitely.
Once we're able to track what the emissions coming from individual drivers, then we will be certainly be able to be in a position to say, hey, these customers capture this amount of exhaust, they can definitely benefit from carbon credits, and we would need to create a system where those credits are allocated to potential customers.
The good thing about it, I can say this, government needs to be aligned. When the government is aligned, they see the need, they see the initiative, they need to drive it.
Yeah.
Right? And not limited to Jamaica. Not limited to Jamaica.
Europe is, I think, where the market will probably be the most viable utilization of the technology, and the US, of course, because that's where our patents currently are. But worldwide, we think this technology is certainly applicable all over the world.
I can say it to you, I know it is. We are proving it, and we know. So
definitely.
One thing I can say in Kuma, let's continue innovating like there's no tomorrow.
Of course. We will never stop innovating.
Never stop.
As if there is no tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
You can pick up VECTOR-1 CERES Labs. We'll let you know exactly where they'll be. All right. So look out for us.
Yeah.
All right.